All right, Brian here. I feel like I need to make a video explaining what happened to my newest boa, Carmella. I just got back from like 6 hour drive, and it's always difficult to leave and be gone, up to 2 days or 3 days, because I just have these pets at home, and they worry me when I'm not around here, because you just never know what's going to happen. And just like when I mentioned that situation, I got home and I need prayers. I need people to pray for me and wish the best for me, because I always got to use my head and think. I came home and ran in the door because I'm just excited to see my animals and make sure everything is good. And right here on this plastic table, which I have a couple of these. I really like these tables. I came in here because Carmella, my boa, that supposedly got eaten and died under my care, which if happened would have been just tragic. And believe me, I was upset, and I'm not making this up to make a video. She really disappeared for 5 days, and I'm going to show you that in a video today, or the video that I'm making now, how it happened and the circumstances that it happened under. But I safely, yes, I have Carmella, my third boa, back in my under my control in this terrarium that is outside of my closet where I have my other two. I'm gonna go into that in more detail, but I just want to tell you, stupid me. And I'm telling you, this is what I need help with, because my brain doesn't function sometimes. I came home and immediately wanted to get Carmella out, and I have a heat lamp, a 200-watt heat lamp that gets really, really hot on top of her cage. And then I've got this really, really hot, I can't remember what it's called, but it's got a heating coil in there. It's not a ceramic heater, which I got all over here. I got thousands of dollars of freaking reptile equipment and stuff that I've bought, like $3,000 worth of stuff. It's mind-blowing how much money you can spend to properly take care of your reptiles. But yeah, I mean, I've spent so much money. But this is a heater, and I came home and this one was on, and I have it on a timer, and it's a day-night timer from ZoomEd, and this one was on, but I turned this one off. And the perfect timing, the timer kicked over, turned this one off, and when I picked it up, it wasn't hot. And I set this down on this plastic table. Let me move this over for you. This is sickening. This is how it happens with me. And by the time I had got her out and went and unpacked my car, 5 minutes, I came back and the timer had turned this on, and this had burned the table. The whole house smelled like burnt plastic, and it actually almost burned a hole through this Lifetime really awesome table. It got so hot, and it sagged this whole portion of the table because it was so hot. I mean, you touched it and your finger would have gone through the table. I almost burned my house down. This is probably the third time that something like this has happened over the last 25 years. And I mean, I need help, man. Sometimes I just don't think, and things work against me. But yeah, so look at that. Let me show you that. Oh, so stupid of me. That's like my hand. I mean, that was literally, I could have taken my finger and stuck it through that. It was so hot and so burnt. Very scary. That's why, God, tripping over everything. I've got all these heat lamps, high-powered heat lamps, and ceramic heaters, and really hot. It's a projector, and almost burned the house down. Luckily, it didn't start a fire in here. That's happened to me another time where I had a table that was fire retardant, and back in probably 2002, I had a heat lamp in probably this exact light right here, and I burnt a hole through the table this thick, almost completely through it. And luckily it just burnt, but it didn't catch fire because it was a fire retardant. table, and came back and saw that and was just like, man, I need help. That's so sickening to see that crap. But let me get to the video real quick and show you how Carmella went missing for 5 days. She's in here in this tank, and I'll take her out. I can do that right now. That's with these terrariums. These are really cool terrariums, and the top comes off. And this is the downside. Really cool terrarium, really nice, and they're really reasonably priced. I got a crazy deal on 3 of these for like $50, and they're now like $130. But the downside is that the tops, you have to pull the tops off like this. So any type of hot lights that you have on here, you've got to remove them and set them down. And so it's just very easy to sit a hot light down. And on the terrarium in there, I try to keep the lights on here because you can balance some lights, but it got too hot and it started to melt the plastic on the top of the terrarium. It's just a never-ending story. But let me take Carmella out. Carmella was getting tame as I had her for a month or 2 months, and when she got away and she hid and she was missing in action for 5 days, she went rogue and she got grumpy again. And so I just got to be really careful with her. She's small and she won't hurt me if she strikes at me, but she kind of lost that she was owned by someone and she went renegade. But I'm gonna pull her up real quick. And you just got to handle your snakes and handle them often. And when you do that, they get really, really friendly, and they won't be pissy and angry and threatened. So here's the baby that got lost. I'm so glad that she did not get eaten. I mean, I really considered her that she was eaten because she just disappeared, and I couldn't find her. So here's Carmella, and she's very unique because when I thought I had lost her, I immediately panicked and was very, very upset for days. And I went and just tried to see if I could replace her with something very similar to the way she looks, kind of her caramel coloring and her decorative patterns on the top, but they go away as they go to the bottom, and she has a lot of speckling, and she's just very, very unique. And I could not find another snake that looked like this one anywhere, from just individual buyers to Morph Market. But there's more to that story. So, but I couldn't find anything like her. So I was really very disappointed with myself and very upset with the situation that I thought she had gotten eaten. But why I thought she had gotten eaten, and let me back up, I may not be in the video, my head, is I've been a big proponent of socializing these snakes with other snakes, and so I have 2 other larger boas, and my 2 boas love hanging out together. I mean, for the best of I can tell, they seek each other out, and they go and hang out with each other. When I let one out and one stays in their cage, the other one in an hour will be in the hide with the other boa, and vice versa. So if one was threatened by one, it would go the other direction. But both of them seek each other out and go and curl up with each other, or crawl on, or hang out on top or underneath each other, and they're really inseparable. And so this snake is very similar. When this one is with my other 2 that are in the closet, they go and they sit on each other and hang out really close and wrap around each other and sit for hours and just enjoy hanging out, or else they would go the opposite direction, and because there's plenty of room that they can go to different spots and not have to see each other. But the thing is, I had to go to a job really quickly, and I had this one out in my closet, and we'll take a look at that here in just a minute. And she did not want to be picked up. She was in an area between the cage and the wall. It just made it difficult for me to get her out, and she was sleeping curled up, and I was like, hey, I'm going to leave you here overnight. I never would leave them multiple days unattended, but in that closet they can't get out. But I also left Manny, my Nicaraguan boa's top cracked. And I just didn't really think that, Manny was going to get out, or, in the short time that I was going to leave them. But obviously Manny got out. I could tell that he got out because I could just, he was in a different spot. And I think I also had Leo's top, my Hypo Boa, off, and I think Leo, went into Manny's cage, and then Manny was in Leo's cage, and this leopard boa, so-called Hypo Leopard Boa, that's what I'm going to classify her as, because she's just not the same, similar looking to the new snake I got, which is going to be in a video. That was her replacement, because I was so sad and so distraught. And I missed having this snake so much. I was like, I gotta get another one. I didn't want to, I didn't need to. Okay, but long story short, now I'm gonna have 4 boas, and I'm okay with that. I think this next one I'm gonna get is gonna be really, really cool too. Looks not like this, but looks more like a true leopard boa. That's why I say this one maybe is a Hypo Leopard Boa. And but let's get back to Carmella here. But let me just show you real quick. So she is alive. She didn't get eaten. I really thought that she had gotten eaten because I couldn't find her. And that closet in there is only limited space. And when you turn everything upside down and you don't find something and it's not in there, the next alternative is it's gone. It's either it got raptured out of here, it just vanished, or it got eaten. Those were my thinking. What happened to her? I couldn't find her, and luckily I did a few days ago. Like I said, I've been on a 2.5, 3 day trip to go do some work to make money to afford all this. But so let me pull the camera off the tripod. I'm gonna put her right on top of her cage. All right, if you watch my videos, and I suggest you subscribe and watch my videos if you're into boas, and you can stand my voice and my face. But this is my reptile, my snake closet. I have to keep this cage out here because these cages are so heavy with everything in there. I can't lift them, and they're in here at such limited space that it's very difficult for me to get an empty terrarium in here and be able to maneuver them in here. But I could probably stack 3 of them in here, but I can't move those terrariums, by me doing it. I would need more people, and I just don't have people offering to come help me or anything like that. There's Carmella. She's up there sleeping, or not sleeping, hanging out on her terrarium. So this is the entirety of the snake room. So there's nowhere to go. And as I've mentioned to you before, I put a panel down there and screwed that in the floor. So there's no way under the door. So there's no way out of this room. If my snakes are in this closet, it is sealed 360 degrees. There's nowhere they can go. And so obviously when Carmella disappeared, I took all the stuff out of both of the terrariums, removed the other boas, looked in the substrate, looked in everything. She was not in the cages, and the snakes love to go on the sides. That's their favorite hangout, is over here and on the other side in these little areas. That's their favorite hangout, to be compressed and coiled up in there. And that's where Carmella was. Carmella was all the way in the back right there, and it's just very difficult to get her. Also too, they hang out on the sides on that terrarium too, and they'll hang out on that side of the terrarium, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But Carmella was nowhere to be found. And again, sorry the video is going to be long, there's no way that she could get under this terrarium. So there is a little tiny space under there, but there was no way to get under there. All the way around, there was no access to get under there. Now if we come up under this bottom one, and I move this up, just how I have this has 2 wood planks, because wood is so expensive, and to buy a really wide piece of wood and cut that down was just very difficult and very expensive. So I had scrap lumber. But if we get under here, you can see this space, And this space is so small under here that I can't even put my finger, I guess this is your index finger, I can't even put my finger fully under there. And Carmella is quite a bit bigger than my finger, and there's not a lot of gap. This is the ZooMed. Let me move this down, sorry. This is the ZooMed new terrarium that I bought, and it has a little space underneath it so that you can put heat mats and things under there. So there's just a little more gap than probably the bottom terrarium, but it's so minimal. And the funny thing is when I was looking for her, I lifted this terrarium up and I looked under. I got a flashlight and I looked under there 3 times over 3 days and inspected under there, and she was not under there. I've got heat mats under here, and this is Manny's cage up here, so he's got heat mat under there. And so I looked through this entire room, and there was no way for her to get out. I looked down there in the bottom with a flashlight. I poked and prodded everything in this room. I mean, there was just nowhere. I mean, it's like looking in an empty box and wondering where something disappeared in an empty box. It was just unfeasible to me that she was anywhere in this room. And also, too, I have up here, up at the top, and this is a little play pen up there for the boas. And I have a bunch of different logs and rocks and things, and they love to come up there on the top. I've removed all the logs, all the rocks, all the decoration up there, and there's nowhere for anything to hide. It's just wide open, and so nothing was up there. The snake was basically gone. But a couple of days ago, I came in here and was messing around with Manny's heater pad, which is under this white panel right here, and I just saw her tail hanging out right here. I saw this little caramel colored, and that's where she gets her name, little caramel body hanging out right there. And I was like, that is Carmella. Holy cow. It was like 5 days later. And so I had to lift up this terrarium. With a block of wood and coax her out underneath. And I finally got her and pulled her out and had her in my hand. And that's how I found Carmella 5 days later. And I was assured, because I couldn't find her, that she was eaten. Even though I did things, let me turn the camera around. I was assured that she was eaten, even though I had done things like grabbed a bright flashlight, LED flashlight that I have, and shortly after, the next day that I thought she was eaten, I took the flashlight, turned all the lights off, and held the flashlight up to the snakes, and she's doing crazy stuff over there. And looked in their belly, because if you hold a bright flashlight up to something, you can see through it. And I didn't see anything in the shape of a 2-foot long Carmella in any of my other 2 boas. And so I just had all this stuff going on in my head that I wasn't sure if the 2 snakes had eaten Carmella, but I couldn't find her. Nothing made sense. I was very upset. It was very troubling. And at the final end, I just thought she'd been eaten. If you can't find something and it's not where it's supposed to be, then what happened to it? So that's what I thought. She had gotten eaten. And I was very pleasantly surprised when I saw her. It was like Christmas for me and a little boy. I mean, it was an amazing thing to see her. Just like a ton of bricks that were on my back and on a backpack were just cut loose and just fell to the floor, and I was like, I can breathe. Oh, it's such a good feeling. And y'all probably know. And also too, share with me if y'all have done anything like I did, like setting a table, melting a table, or melting a wood table, or setting a hot lamp down, or a heater pad down, and the destruction you may have caused. So you can try to make me feel better about that. I'm just really depressed about that I burnt my table. I hate burning things. And then the possibility of setting a fire again in my home, would be just devastating. But I need to stop doing stupid crap like that, and have my head thinking correctly. But yeah, that's everything. Share with me if you have any really stupid stories that you did where you almost burned your house down or almost lit something on fire. from pet lights and reptile lights and stuff. But I think that's everything that I wanted to say. I'm really, really glad that I have Carmella back, and this is probably a long video, but I do have her, and I'm going to be extra careful in where she goes. That's why I don't like having little snakes. It's such a burden having little snakes because they can go pretty much anywhere. If you just have a little crack or a little gap in a piece of furniture or your wall, little snakes can just deform themselves and go through pretty much everything. And it was just my nightmare with having little snakes. Manny and Leo are bigger now, and they can't necessarily easily go under the doors or go places that I'm not as fearful of losing them if they get out. But this little snake that's 2 foot long and still pretty skinny, I just knew that she probably got outside or something, just something really crappy happened to her, you know, and again, you know, she didn't get eaten, and thank God, thank the Lord she did not get eaten. But that's everything. I cannot wait for her to grow up and get bigger so I don't have to worry about her as much. But that's my video. Thanks for tuning in. Video's way too long, probably close to 25 minutes. And like and subscribe, because then you get more of my content. Plus I post lots of those little still pictures and just write something. And if you're not subscribed to me, then you don't get any of my, I don't think you get any of my pictures. And I write a lot of things. It's easy just to take a photo and just post it and write something. So I kind of like Instagram, where you can post photos and people follow you there. But I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok. I don't do any of that crap. Just YouTube for now. But as you can see, there's my Carmella. And they all just got fed. There's her little tongue. There she is. Don't strike me on camera. All right. See you later. Bye-bye.